I've got to manage myself, I've got to manage my mind. The task is not easy, but to high heights I climb.
I'm determined to succeed, so no excuses, please. If you don't want success in life, then don't hinder me. Yes, let the whole world know I'm a CEO. You are a CEO. I'm a CEO. You are a CEO. I'm a CEO. The time is here to celebrate. You are a CEO. You are a CEO. You are a CEO. You are a CEO. Yes, let the whole world know. The time is here to celebrate. Success is calling, so don't be late. You are a CEO.
Hello, everyone. Michael Lee Parker here, and we are ready for another wonderful night here on CEO TV Live. And as promised, this is a show about the science of uplift. And this is a very important show. We're talking about one of our flagship products, Uplift, the Mind Fitness app. And tonight, I want you to truly understand what this is all about. And sometimes I don't think we realize what we really have access to. And so tonight, I hope you get a little bit of a deeper understanding of how we can use this effective tool to really help us in our day-to-day life. So I want to first start off by talking about some critical things. Now, I want to walk you through a few slides that are very important to kind of set the foundation for what we mean when we talk about mind fitness. First of all, you all have heard this saying, we are what we eat. But I want to replace that with the fact that we really are what we think and what we continually think, most importantly. And so what we think is very important when we talk about the mind. And then when you consider that, when you know that we are what we think, this means we must invest in our mind. And so I want you to all, keep this focus tonight that it does matter to invest in our mind. A lot of other things we put a lot of focus on. There's a lot of things that we focus on in terms of how we look, things that are superficial, how much money we have in the bank, what different accomplishments we have in life. But there's few times we really look and measure how much are we investing in our mind. So having said this about the mind, let's talk about mind fitness. So there's a lot of ways to be fit. We talk about fitness and, again, here at URCL, we promote fitness on all levels. We want everyone to be fit. We want you to be fit in your body, and we want to make sure that everyone's taking care of their health. But mind fitness is something that is so critical to our ultimate success. If our mind is not fit, nothing else will be as successful as it could be. There's a lot of people who accomplish great things without mind fitness, but eventually that mind fitness catches up with them every time. If you don't take care of this, eventually it will hold you back. And if you do it the right way, there's so many benefits that you can begin to create. So let's talk about mind fitness at a real high level. There's so much we can talk about here, but we're learning how to lose weight from a mind perspective, not losing the weight, that we have on our body, but the weight of negativity, the weight of doubt, procrastination, laziness, fear, low self-esteem. All of these are things we need to lose. We need to get out of our mind, right? So these are things, again, this is a new way of looking at losing weight. This is what, again, you hear coined at URCL about mind fitness. Here's another key area. Metabolism. So here we're not burning the fat in the body, but a high energy to burn anything that hinders our success. An intense passion to focus on what matters and the courage to sacrifice what doesn't. This is the new metabolism we're talking about with an uplifted frame of mind. And then we also have to focus on nutrition, eating the right thoughts, the right examples that promote a healthy mind. So this is why it matters what we're looking at on social media. It matters who we let influence our thoughts. It matters what we listen to every day, because this is nutrition. That's why you hear us talk about other social sites say, look at your home feed, because something is being fed to you. So read the nutritional facts of what you're consuming in your mind. These are the things that we have to look for. Are you eating junk food? This is what Uplift was created for, to give us something that has true nutritional value in our social experience. Now, another key area is building muscle. So when we build muscle, we can begin to celebrate overcoming obstacles to make us stronger and better prepared for future challenges. When you build muscle, you can begin to handle impact better. All athletes know this. It's one of the reasons athletes lift weights and build muscle. So if they're hit or if they're impacted, if they collide with something, their body can absorb that hit without injuring themselves. And so muscle sometimes is what we need to stand between us and the obstacles of life, being stronger. And the reason we are getting that strength is by coming through things and witnessing those who have come through things and building a mental muscle that can help us in our day-to-day life. This is another very important way to look at mind fitness. And then, all you yoga folks out there that like to stretch and be flexible, there's a flexibility we need in the mind as well. The ability to handle more pressure without breaking. That's what we mean by flexibility. Our ability to stretch without injuring ourselves or anyone else. And a lot of times when you're working out, they'll tell you, you want to warm your body up first and then get into a good stretch. And then after you work out, have another stretch. Make sure your body is able to recuperate and endure the workout. So flexibility has so many benefits. And so we have to also have that in our life. We have to begin to get some elasticity in our life, to be able to handle more, to be able to stretch around that situation, stretch around that information that you got, and be able to not let it destroy you because you're flexible enough to endure that. This is all what we're talking about, mind fitness. All right. Now, another big one is endurance. And we know that, again, life is a marathon. It's definitely not a sprint. So the internal stamina to keep going when the outcome or benefit seems out of reach. Do you have enough stick-to-itiveness, if I can use that, to say I can stick to things that I know are important for me to succeed? The ability to keep going. Have you ever been working out and your mind wants to give up? You don't want to do that last rep. You don't want to finish that last mile. You don't want to keep going. When you know you committed to work out for a certain amount of time and there's something that has to kick in that's willing to endure, willing to keep pushing and keep going and keep fighting. And that is something that begins in the mind. Yes, your body will tell you things. Yes, it will send you signals to stop. But there's something that you can do in the mind to endure. And such is life. How many times do things come up in our life that require the same type of intestinal fortitude, the same mental strength to keep on going when things come up? This is what we're talking about with mind fitness. All right. Now, last but not least, this is something we've added here about our mind fitness. We think about our core. Now, a lot of you know, if you know anything about being an athlete or being fit, a lot of things come to your core. That's where your balance is a lot of times centered with the body. And so we need a core in our mind fitness that's a stabilizing force that keeps our mind in the right place, our emotions under control, and making sure our decisions are really based on what we say we value. This is what we're talking about when we talk about mind fitness. So I want you to understand, before we even get deep into the science of uplift, we need to understand why this is even important. We need a place, we need a way, we need an environment that allows us to work on the things that I just shared with you. And I would like to challenge you that you won't find any other social app that is focused on what I just went over. And that's what makes Uplift so special. All right, now I've got a question for you. So as you look here on the screen, and if you went to a gym full of equipment, I got a question. Does fitness begin when you walk in the gym or when you use the equipment? I want you to think about that for a minute. If you just walked around the gym, are you fit because you walked in the gym? Well, I think we would all agree, absolutely not. Your fitness begins when you get on the equipment. Why am I telling you this? I want you to consider when people use Uplift, a lot of times if they don't go deeper, if they don't think deeper, if they don't push themselves, to them, it's just another social app. Pictures, videos, things to click on like any other app. What transforms Uplift into a mind fitness app is you understanding why you're using it and choosing to use the equipment. I want you to understand that. Choosing to use the equipment. So when you see this here, and we talk about Uplift Mind Fitness, this is the gym. We've created a new gym for Mind Fitness. It's up to you to use the equipment. So yes, the first social network that helps people maintain an uplifted state of mind, but I see too many people who stop by Uplift and use it like Instagram and use it like Twitter and use it like Facebook, not realizing there's something deeper, but it requires a deeper commitment within you. And this is what I want to talk to you about tonight. All right. So we've talked about a lot here tonight. I've led you to the Mind Fitness Gym. And now I want to go specifically I'm going to go over to the whiteboard. I got some teaching to do here. I want to walk you through the critical aspect of how we use Uplift to begin to impact and change behavior. And this is important because we're dealing with behavioral change, which is not easy. So I want to meet you over at the whiteboard. All right. So here now, I want to teach you a few things about behavioral change. I want you to understand why this is so important to everything we're doing with Uplift Mind Fitness and the science, as you heard me talk about, the science of it. Science is based on fact. Science is based on behavior. Science is based on real information. It's based on truth. And so when we think about ourselves, one of the first things that I want to focus on here, I might have to do a little drawing here, but when you think about, let's focus here a little bit. Let's focus here a little bit on the brain. And I'm going to draw a little brain here. And believe it or not, this is kind of how your brain is built. And there's a lot of focus here on the brain and how in that brain, all kinds of things are going on. And when we think about the brain, this is the center of a lot of different things. And so, again, here's a place where negativity is first. This is how we're made. The brain restores things that are negative first. You heard us. This shouldn't be new to you, all you CEOs out there. You know we talk about the ants, automatic negative thoughts. And the brain is built to remember the things that have traumatized us negatively than the great things that have helped us positively. And so this is also a memory bank of things that hurt, right? So memory of hurt. So this is another a key element that we deal with. And so we also have a perception of threat. Things that I consider a threat, they're also stored here in the brain. So this is, again, the beginning of how we wake up every day. I want you to consider that. This is how we wake up every day. So from here, this leads us to thoughts. So imagine what type of thoughts we normally get, right? So our first thoughts a lot of times can be negative, right? This is just the way we're made. This is how we start off. And so we think about things. And then, of course, you know, we talk about this process, how then this leads to our feeling. And this is where our emotion comes in, right? And so our emotion begins to be impacted by what we're thinking about. And then it's those emotions that begin to intensify things. And I then begin to create different actions. So my actions, again, are important because my actions really is what I'm going to become, right? So my actions is determine a lot of what I'm going to become. So I have to be aware of the actions that I'm taking. Now, these actions then begin to create, we're going to come back over here. These actions come back to the brain, and they are basically experiences being created. So when we look at these experiences that are created and they come back all the way over and they come back up to the brain and they begin to feed this brain, now the next time that I begin to think about certain things based on experiences, these then begin to come back to these thoughts and they intensify those thoughts. So I already had those thoughts, but based on the actions I take and the experiences I have, the brain is still working. It starts to intensify those thoughts, especially if it's something that the brain already told me was a threat or was negative, or that was something that would put me in danger or might hurt me, right? So this is the pathway that we are on. This is what we are dealing with on a day-to-day. So I want you to keep in mind, this again is the normal process that we are going through, and this is the pathway that we want to actually impact and that we want to actually turn around. So now that you understand this, I want to then show you a different approach. Now I'm going to erase this. And so some of the things that I want you to consider, and I want to erase this for a reason, because this is symbolic of we need to erase the old way. We need to erase the patterns that we always have seen. We need to get away from this, right? We need to move away from this. When we go to other social sites, we basically go to those social sites to do this, what I just erased, right? That's why you see negative tweets, negative posts. As soon as you post something, someone got something negative to say. So this process is reinforced by social media that feeds those same types of behaviors, because they have built platforms out there for human beings to just be human beings. And so you see a bunch of human beings being human beings. And so you can go from complete joy and excitement and laughter to complete disgust and anguish. And why did I look at this? It ruined my whole day. So we're creating something different and creating a different environment that will use this science in a better way. So when we think about what we're trying to do now, what we want to start with is actions. And this is a hard one. So to begin to take actions that I know will help me become a better person. So we have to begin to take actions in real life. And there's also actions inside of Uplift based on real life that I can begin to use to begin to change behavior. Now imagine here, before we started with the brain, here we started with action. What does that mean? I have to make a decision. Again, you can't just go to the gym. You got to use the equipment. So at some point, I decide I'm not going based on what's coming to me in my thoughts. I'm going to take action because of a goal I have. This is something I want you to keep in mind. Those actions begin to now impact my feelings. So I take my actions, and the thing about it is I have to begin to start making a change. And I begin to go from a feeling of fear to familiarity. I got to get to a point where the actions I'm taking are not so scary anymore because I'm familiar and I saw it didn't hurt me to do this. And so a lot of times when we start this process and we're trying to change behavior, we're getting in a more positive environment. We're trying to get out of our comfort zone. Even some of you in Uplift who still struggle to post a mint or to get active, or you just a looky-loo. You stop by like you do on other social sites because you still don't realize this is not like other social sites. We have to move from fear to familiarity because we've been trying and we've been doing it, and it becomes more familiar. Then we move to thoughts. Now our thoughts are beginning to change. Now I'm reversing the process here. So now my actions is leading to my feelings, and my feelings is leading to my thoughts. And I'm going from doubt and unbelief to more of confirmation and consistency. I'm starting to think about more. I'm getting a confirmation that when I do these things, it's actually working. I'm starting to see that I can be consistent. I'm starting to get a different frame of mind. And this now all begins to get stored. I'm gonna do a new brain here just for fun. There's different ways to draw a brain. Here's like the left and right hemisphere here. Here's the brain again. And now I'm beginning to create new memories. And I'm also beginning to create new options. So there was options I didn't know were possible. There were things I didn't know could be something that I could actually do to change certain behaviors because I'm only wired a certain way. But when I begin to go through this process, I can actually start to make a change. Now, this is again where those new options begin to be created. And now I'm able to use these new options. And now I can actually allow that to actually also begin to drive me to now feel safer to start taking actions and so forth. And all of this, again, is something that now I feel safe. And another thing that you see is now the brain still goes through its normal process. And now it's coming from new memories and new options, giving me new thoughts, new feelings, and leading to new actions. So now it's working on all cylinders toward a more positive life. And this is where we see behavioral change. And you said, could all of this be done in a simple app? Absolutely. So I want you to keep that in mind. This is, again, what we're talking about. This is a process we're going through. Now, let me tell you a little bit more about Uplift. I want to go back to my presentation here. Now, I want to explain to you, I'm going to give you some secret insight behind the scenes about Uplift. Now, I'm going to share some information, even some stuff that's hot off the press. Uplift is always growing and evolving, and so I want some of you to know out there that we're making some changes and we want to deepen the science and everything at Uplift is for a reason. Every color, every sound, every experience, everything is strategic if you really use it. If you really get on the equipment, if you really commit to it, that's when you start to get those experiences. So some of you out there that's done a lot in Uplift, I want you to know we got some adjustments coming. You're going to see some adjustments. Some of you, as we adjust our system, some of your levels may change. Your points won't change. Those of you that are the top ones out there, you still will be the top ones. But we are making some expansions to our model because we're getting prepared for a global launch that's going to include a lot more people. And we've studied the things that we needed to even strengthen in the science. So here's a little bit how this is going to look. Now, this is in the first stage. When you think about Uplift, we are climbing a mountain, and every stage has 30 levels, and there's a certain amount of points you have to cross those levels. Mindset takes you on a journey like this, and this is strategic. This is for a reason. This isn't just, I know sometimes you see stages and levels and you don't really understand. There's a process to this. There's something you're going through, and so you can see this is how that journey looks. Stage 2 is Mount Strength, and look at that journey, and there's a reason we do this on the second stage, and all the levels and the point thresholds you have to get to cross those and get those victories, because life is like climbing a mountain. It's all strategic how this is built. Then you go to Mount Courage and look at that journey. And so this, again, I want you to just look at these journeys. Stage 4, Mount Perseverance. This is what this looks like as you begin to climb these mountains. This is all from you using Uplift, being active, staying involved. You begin to climb these mountains. You're moving up. And then stage 5, Mount Discipline. Every word that is used is for a reason. There's brain training that is happening. There's strategic things we're instilling and implanting in your mind. And so if you really use Uplift, then you'll see what it can do. Then stage 6 is Mount Resilience. And you can see the pathway there. Each one of these stages is different. We move to Mount Success. You can see there's some serious climbing there going on, a few valleys that are unexpected. And then we've got Keep Walking. Now, stage 8 is a big one, and it's a level path, but it's a high level path. And once you get up there, you got to keep walking all through those levels that take you to a serious destination. Then we move on to stage 9, Mount Endurance. And look at the uniqueness of this pathway. Then stage 10 is Mount Unbreakable. And this is, again, these are subtle things that we have to begin to put in our mind, put in our spirit, put in our heart. It's when we have to face life. Then there's Mount Relentless. And you can see this is a very unique pathway. And then you get to Mount Unstoppable. And you can see this is a very unique pathway as you begin to move through levels. And all of this is strategic science that is behind the Uplift platform. Now, I want to walk you through a few more things about the science of Uplift. Now, we have something called Uplift zones. Now, these Uplift zones are for strategic reasons. Now, some of you might have noticed, you might see on your profile, I'm in zone 1, zone 2. So I'll give you an example here. Right now, I'm on Uplift Power. I don't mean to brag and pat myself on the back there, but this is the highest level within Uplift. And I've challenged even the team around here to get active. We got to get on some Uplift Power. And Uplift Power is the highest zone in Uplift. And it means you got fully engaged. You have to get fully active. You cannot get there without getting active. And all of this is strategic. There's things in Uplift that drive you to take action, drive you to inspire others. And so when you see my profile here, there's things that are strategic on each of those areas. And even when you click around the profile, you'll see instructions that teach you. For example, if I click on Uplift Power, it has all the instructions about how the Uplift zones work. And so these Uplift zones are critical. And if you're not into the Uplift zones yet, if you don't know how they work, you are missing a part of the science. And again, you're not getting on the equipment. So you have to study, how do I progress in Uplift? If you really take the now again, if some people just want to use an app or so, so forth and so on, then it'll be just a social app like any other social app. When you get serious with Uplift and you get in there, you'll start to see what it can begin to do and what it can begin to create. So this begins to show you what to do. And as you move through those zones, you get more points. This is all brain training. And it's causing your brain to associate certain behaviors. And you think you're just posting or just high-fiving or just complimenting. But did you know when you begin to take positive action, when you begin to acknowledge other people's positive action, it feeds the brain. It creates behavior. It begins to create patterns within you, just like the patterns you have now were created by things you continually did. Imagine when you see a positive image, when you watch a positive video, when you see something that makes you happy, something that makes you laugh, and when you acknowledge it by actually taking the time to high-five that individual, when you see someone high-five you and you get that sense of meaning to what you posted and see that someone appreciated it, something is happening to you. There is something involved in that. And for the first time, we're going to use that science for good. So when you look at this profile, now all of these things that you see on here, the mint streak, the uplift, when you click on that, you can turn on the sound. And there's even when you click the little plus symbol where you post a mint, you can turn on your sound. Sometime you should turn on your sound because the sound is a part of the science. When you begin to hear sounds, it does something to the brain. I know sometimes you might say, I don't want to hear this part, but there's a part of that is brain training. So every now and then, listen to those sounds. Listen to that sound when you get the mint streak. Listen to that sound when you climb another level and let yourself listen to positive energy that's in those sounds, and you'll begin to notice that. Sometimes I turn my sound on, and when you're high-fiving, we've got sounds that it makes. Now, not all the time. It'll drive you crazy, but you can do it sometimes to create that feeling. So this is very important. Now, when you're moving through these zones, I want you to keep in mind, this is some of the secret science behind the scenes. Each one of those zones, you get more points. And there's direct points for things that you do. So if I'm in Uplift Power or Uplift Zone 4, I get 30 points for posting a mint or 30 points for complimenting. But if I'm in Zone 4, I get 40 points. Uplift Power, I get up to 50 points. But all of those are direct actions that I can take that causes me to create positive habits from my own actions. But then I get indirect points that you see below when people interact with my content in Uplift. I also get more points based on my zone, but these are points I'm getting from inspiring other people. And this is very, very important. Now, I want to hold this real quick. I know I'm getting here to the end of the show, but let me just walk over to the whiteboard. I want to show you something about this real quick. So when we think about the things that we do directly and indirectly, it's very important to understand when we think about how we begin to create positive behavior. So one side of it is we have to achieve things. When we achieve things, this actually does something to us. It allows us to create a certain positive behaviors when we see ourselves do that. Then we have to also inspire others. So when you inspire others, this also begins to do something to the brain. So did you know that, believe it or not, this again is great, right? And when you achieve things, but inspiring others is even better, because the way our brain works, there's something about knowing that you created success for others, or are the cause of success, that makes you feel even more positive endorphins, positive dopamine releases when you know you are the cause of making others better, when you know you are the genesis of why someone was inspired. So it's important that not only do you go around high-fiving and complimenting, you've got to give someone something to compliment and high-five. It works on both sides. When you post, then you begin to show the achievement. You put yourself out there. But when you begin to high-five and compliment others, you're inspiring others who are impacted by what you've done. All of this is a part of the science, and it begins to work together to create that positive behavior. Now, one of the things that I want to talk to you about really quickly, when you think about, again, inside of Uplift, we have what are called mints. And mints are moments in time, right? So there's our mint, right? So moments in time that we begin to actually capture things that we're doing, things that we're accomplishing in real life. And we take the time and we post it, we make it visible, and we actually put this into the product. But what is happening to you when because you're not posting a tweet or something on Instagram or a Facebook post, Uplift is different. When you think about Uplift, you actually are getting, I'm gonna see if I can draw a little eye here. You are actually developing an eye with a new lens. And when you look out, so let's say here's somebody that came through, let's say they lost their job, right? So let's say this is job loss. What you start developing is a positivity filter. When you use Uplift over and over again, you develop a skill of taking whatever happened and looking at it through this filter. And when you then go to Uplift, you might post a picture or something, and you might say, again, I'm looking for new opportunities, right? And you might talk about how now you're going to use your time to find a way to strengthen your career and make an even better career than the one you already had. You took a negative situation and you spin it positive. So this is a skill that we develop, how to spin that medical appointment positive, how to spin that relationship issue positive, how to spin that person that said something negative to you positive, how to spin that childhood memory to something positive. And you learn how to do that every single day. There is nothing in life that you cannot spin positive. There is something good. There is something you can find. And you learn that when you begin to use these tools inside of Uplift. Now, having said that, let me just give you a few more things before I close you out here. Now, when we talk about posting mints, we also focus a lot on what is called the mint streak. And this is important because we're teaching you to build positive behavior. Now, some of you just post here and there. You can't even get in Uplift zones unless you're on a mint streak. Now, you go read the details, you find that out. Some of you need to go read the details. This is, again, stop just going to the gym. Get on the equipment, right? Now, so with Mint Streak, there's something strategic happening here. We're provoking consistent posting of uplifting moments in time. And so if you look at the days of a streak, and you look at calendar days across the week, we set up some strategic science behind this. So there's a requirement. Post 1 mint for 2 consecutive days within a 24-hour period. This is how you get on a mint streak. And it's a unique way of doing a streak that keeps it positive, but still provokes you to create behavior. So if I post a mint on day 1, nothing will happen. When I post on day 2 consecutive days, then I'll see, it'll say I've got my first day mint streak. If I post again, that's my second day on a mint streak. Post again, third day. All right, if on day 5, so you can see all of those now, my mint streak is growing because it looks at the consecutive days. Behavioral change, right? You might think I'm just posting like any other social site. No, you're not. When you post an Uplift, a mint is not something you can just post. You got to think before you post a mint because everything in Uplift is positive. Everything in Uplift is meaningful. Everything in Uplift is about being happy and bringing laughter and something that is actually adding to our life. So if you're on day 5 now, don't post a mint. You'll still be on your, you've only got to the 3rd day of a streak, right? You don't lose it, but you're still at 3. So if the requirement is not met, you don't lose that. You just lose the opportunity to grow in your mint streak. So if now on day 6 I post, I still would only be at 3 because it's 2 consecutive days. So if I post again, right, so here's just a lost opportunity. But when I post on day 7, it picks up again. Now this is my 4th day mint streak. I keep posting and you can see I'm back in my rhythm. This is again how it flows. So this is what we're talking about, building behavior. So everyone should be on a mint streak. Everyone should be pushing to grow. You don't lose it if you have a rough week, you get off track, you're off a few days. Such is life. That's what life is. We're climbing a mountain. It's all about uplift. This is real life. So you get off track. Hey, I got off track. But what do? You get up one day and you say, now I'm going to get back on track. And that's why we built this mint streak that way. So this is what you want to do and continue to grow in your uplift journey, in your uplift experience. So I want to just leave you with this. Also, make sure you explore the showrooms. Now, I'm going to talk about that maybe at another time, but showrooms are a way to immerse ourselves in different environments that are all positive and uplifting. I just created a new showroom for best theme songs, sitcoms with best theme songs that make us feel happy. And so we're going to start building that showroom up. There's showrooms about health, showrooms about nature, showrooms about hobbies. So get in there and begin to create these environments where we all can build these showrooms together of positivity. And then every time you post a mint, you ever notice that little mint type symbol? A mint type is really expressing our emotion, how we feel, what that mint is about. But did you know we can look at patterns in our life? Maybe on Monday nights, we tend to post things that are inspiring. Then there's other times we're posting things that are commitment oriented or statement oriented or accomplishment oriented. And we can start seeing patterns that we actually have. And we've created signature showrooms. If you go to the Discover tab, you can see you can go into all of the mints that people have posted about encouragement, all the mints people have posted about commitment all over the world, and immerse yourself in that environment. That's why these showrooms are critical, and we're creating new ways to do that with the show tag that you will only find here at Uplift. And so you can see this is what Uplift is about. This is some of the detailed science behind it, and I hope you've learned something deeper so that you'll stop just coming in to look at the equipment, but get on that equipment and become a mind fitness champion. I'm Michael Lee Parker, and I want to thank you for this, again, wonderful time together talking about the science of uplift. I want to remind you, we started today to run tomorrow over the next few weeks. We announced this last week, so we're now on a countdown to July 15th where we're going to start running and picking up the pace. We all are moving forward, especially our affiliates out there, starting to use the tools, talking to people. We want as many people as possible to be impacted by what we're doing at URCO. We're headed toward July 15th. We're active right now, though. We're not saying wait till July 15th. Get in there, get active. Start doing it. You can do it right now. There's a payment coming out to all you affiliates out there from everything in the past. That's coming this month. You're going to be excited to see that debit card starting to jingle a little bit. And we're going to move forward into July in a new world, beginning to take this to the whole international globe. And this is what it's about at You Are a CEO. And so I want to remind you, this Wednesday, we have a special webinar for all of our affiliates, affiliate strategies. And you're going to learn about some really distinct things that'll help you grow your business. I'll be there doing another coaching session. Make sure if you're an affiliate, do not miss. Make sure you look in the feeds in Facebook and all the other platforms to register for that. And then I want you to be aware of our next show. And it's asking a simple question: am I growing? And we're going to answer that question. How do you use You Are a CEO to create growth within your life? I am Michael E. Parker, and I thank you so much for our time together. Until we meet again, get out there and let the whole world know that you are a CEO.
Yes, let the whole world